Our world is full of wonders, from ancient ruins buried beneath shifting sands, to objects unearthed from the ice that should not exist. Some discoveries rewrite history, others leave us more puzzled than enlightened. In the corners of the earth, in silent deserts and icy depths, mankind has stumbled upon relics, artifacts, and places that defy explanation. Tonight, we journey into the unknown. These are the top 10 most mysterious discoveries ever found on Earth. Are they forgotten pieces of ancient knowledge, or clues to secrets we were never meant to uncover? Keep your mind open and your curiosity sharp, because some truths lie buried in mystery. 1. The Antikythera Mechanism. In the year 1900, the sea off the coast of a tiny Greek island revealed a secret it had kept for over 2 millennia. Sponge divers working near Antikythera, a remote outpost between the Peloponnese and Crete, plunged into the blue depths, seeking natural riches from the ocean floor. What they found instead would baffle the world for over a century. Mid the scattered remains of a Roman-era shipwreck, beneath layers of coral and sea sediment, lay something that looked at first glance entirely unremarkable. Encrusted with marine growth and fused into a lump of stone, it was nearly overlooked. But curiosity, as it often does, triumphed. The divers brought it to the surface, one of many artifacts, including bronze statues and pottery, delivered to the National Archaeological Museum in Athens. For months, perhaps even years, it sat in a corner forgotten. Until someone noticed the impossible. Embedded in the corroded mass were teeth, tiny, intricate gear teeth, not from an animal but mechanical, something built, something precise, something ancient. What followed was a scientific odyssey unlike any other. The artifact was broken into over 80 pieces, but once carefully examined using modern imaging techniques, X-rays, CT scans, and 3D modeling, the mystery began to unravel. This was no ordinary relic. It was a machine, an analog computer constructed around 100 BCE, capable of tracking the cycles of the sun, the moon, the planets. It predicted eclipses, lunar phases, and even the dates of ancient Olympic Games. A device so sophisticated, it rivaled clockwork technology not seen again until the 14th century, over 1,400 years later. The Antikythera Mechanism is a name that echoes through archaeological circles like a whisper from a lost age. It's made of bronze, housed in a wooden casing that long since decayed. Its creators, likely Greek, possibly influenced by the mathematical brilliance of Archimedes or Hipparchus, crafted it with a level of engineering that should not have existed in the ancient world. Its dials, cranks, and inscribed instructions are not the stuff of myth. They're real. Its inner workings resemble the gearing of a modern clock, yet with celestial precision rooted in the knowledge of the stars. But how did it come to be? This discovery, and the storm of questions it brought, sent shockwaves through the academic community. It implied a much deeper understanding of astronomy and engineering among the ancients than previously believed. It suggested a lineage of technological mastery that was either forgotten or deliberately hidden. Was this the creation of a lone genius, a Da Vinci of the ancient world whose works were lost in fire and conquest? Or was it part of a broader technological culture, one wiped clean by the tides of war, plague, and time? Some believe that the Antikythera Mechanism is just the tip of an ancient iceberg, that many more such devices may have once existed and were lost. The shipwreck itself may have been transporting the device from Rhodes or Alexandria, hubs of ancient science and philosophy. Others take the speculation further. Could it be that this was not merely a calculator, but a tool for divination? Some scholars point to the predictive functions of the mechanism as being more than practical. It was a tool of prophecy, aligned with the heavens in a time when the cosmos was seen as divine. A way to glimpse the future through the ordered dance of celestial bodies. Still, others whisper of Atlantis, of lost civilizations whose technologies vanished beneath waves or were buried under the weight of history. The Antikythera Mechanism becomes, in their eyes, a relic of a forgotten golden age. Science remains more grounded, but even among the cautious and the skeptical, awe remains. How did ancient minds, working with simple tools, craft something so impossibly precise? The bronze gears, some with up to 223 teeth, were arranged to calculate the metonic cycle, a 19-year lunar period, along with the Saros cycle, which predicted solar and lunar eclipses. The device even accounts for the elliptical orbits of celestial bodies using complex gearing known as epicyclic differentials, technology not formally documented until the 16th century. In the age before telescopes, before Newton, before Copernicus, someone understood this. Someone built it. The implications are staggering. What else did we lose in the great fires of history? In the burning of the Library of Alexandria, in the collapse of Rome, in the waves of conquest that buried knowledge beneath blood and dust? The Antikythera Mechanism is not just a marvel, it is a message from the past to the present, a message that says we were not as primitive as you think. And as scientists continue to decipher its inscriptions, some of which describe the positions of Mercury and Venus, new insights keep emerging. Could there be a second mechanism still waiting to be found on the seabed? Could more have been written, detailing even greater knowledge? In 2012, an international team returned to the shipwreck site using modern submersibles. They found more statues, more artifacts, but no second mechanism. Still, hopes remain. The sea keeps its secrets well, but not forever. Today, a replica of the Antikythera Mechanism sits in museums and research centers around the world. It turns silently, ticking out the rhythms of a forgotten sky. And we watch in awe and wonder, what else lies waiting to be rediscovered? 2. The Voynich Manuscript. In the quiet vaults of Yale University's Baghdad Rare Book and Manuscript Library lies a book that has defied scholars, codebreakers, and even artificial intelligence for over a century. Its pages are aged but pristine, its illustrations otherworldly, its script unlike anything ever seen before. It is a puzzle, a cipher, a challenge. It is the Voynich Manuscript, the most mysterious book in the world. Bound in vellum and penned by a hand, or perhaps several, long since turned to dust, the manuscript contains over 240 pages of strange diagrams, curious botanical drawings, and paragraphs upon paragraphs written in an undecipherable language. But it's not just the language that confounds, it's everything about it. No one knows who wrote it. No one knows what it means. No one even knows why it exists. Discovered in 1912 by rare book dealer Wilfrid Voynich in the Villa Mondragon near Rome, the manuscript appeared to be a lost treasure. He believed he had found a long-lost work of medieval alchemy or forgotten natural science. But once he presented it to scholars, one thing became immediately clear. It was written in a script that no one could read. Voynich believed the manuscript may have once belonged to the Holy Roman Emperor Rudolf II, a ruler with a fascination for the occult and the unusual. But the trail of the manuscript's origins quickly grew cold, vanishing into a fog of conjecture and speculation. The language, dubbed Voynichese, has no known relation to any real-world writing system. Its characters are unique. Its structure suggests grammar and rules, but nothing that aligns with Latin, Greek, Hebrew, or Arabic, languages common to European scholarly circles during the manuscript's presumed creation period in the 15th century. Then there are the illustrations. Some pages show bizarre plants that resemble nothing found in any botanical database. They seem to have roots and leaves and flowers, but many twist into impossible forms, as if drawn by someone who had never seen the natural world or had imagined one alien to ours. Other sections depict naked women bathing in interconnected tubes, flowing through what appear to be alchemical apparatuses or symbolic waterways. Are these representations of the human soul? A treatise on female biology? A spiritual guide? No one can say. There are diagrams of stars and suns and moons, astrological signs, zodiac wheels, calendars written in unknown glyphs. The entire manuscript is divided into sections: botanical, astronomical, biological, cosmological, pharmaceutical, and even what appears to be a recipe section. But the meanings remain locked, and so the manuscript invites questions, so many questions. Is it a lost scientific codex? A medieval medical guide? An elaborate hoax? A forgotten language? Or something far stranger? Over the decades, cryptographers from around the world have tried to crack its code. During World War II, even top U.S. military codebreakers examined it, hoping to decode its secrets using the same methods employed against Nazi communications. They failed. In more recent years, artificial intelligence and complex statistical analysis have been applied to the text. Some researchers suggest it has patterns similar to natural language, indicating it might not be gibberish. Others claim it is too consistent to be random. yet too inconsistent to be meaningful. There are even theories that it might be glossolalia, spirit language, written by someone in a trance, creating words without meaning. Or a constructed language meant to encode sacred knowledge, designed to be understood only by a select few. And then there are the wilder theories. Some believe the manuscript is not from Earth, that it is an artifact of ancient alien contact, its unknown script a product of extraterrestrial minds. The illustrations, they say, depict plants not found on Earth because they are not of Earth. The women in tubes, not baths but stasis chambers, or something else entirely. Others suspect the Voynich Manuscript is a copy of a much older text, something preserved through the ages, each generation failing to translate it but revering it enough to replicate. A relic not of knowledge, but of mystery itself. Despite the swirling theories, modern radiocarbon dating has offered at least one hard fact. The vellum dates to the early 15th century, between 1404 and 1438. That alone dispelled one long-standing rumor, that it was a clever forgery by Voynich himself. But the dating only deepened the enigma. Who had the knowledge, or the madness, to write such a thing in medieval Europe? Some names have been floated: Roger Bacon, John Dee, Edward Kelly, all legendary scholars and occultists, but no proof links them definitively. In 2017, a historian proposed that the text might be a previously unknown version of a Romance language, encoded phonetically in a cipher. Another claimed the manuscript was a women's health guide, and that its mysteries were simply misunderstood by male academics. Yet for every theory, there are 100 counterarguments. The manuscript holds tight to its silence, and so it has become more than just a book. It is a mirror to our own obsession with the unknown, a canvas upon which we project our fears, our hopes, and our relentless desire to make sense of what we cannot understand. What does it say? The truth, for now, remains locked in parchment and ink, guarded by a cipher older than the modern world. But one thing is certain: whoever wrote it, whether mystic, madman, or genius, knew the power of mystery. And in the quiet halls of Yale, behind glass and soft lighting, the Voynich Manuscript waits for someone someday to finally listen to what it's been trying to say for over 600 years. 3. The Nazca Lines. High above the arid plains of southern Peru, where the wind whispers across a barren landscape and rain rarely falls, something strange emerges, giant figures etched into the earth, so large they can only be truly appreciated from the sky. These are the Nazca Lines. Etched into the ground between 500 BCE and 500 CE by the Nazca civilization, these geoglyphs stretch across nearly 200 square miles. Some are simple lines, geometric shapes that stretch for miles. Others are intricate and artistic. A spider, a monkey with a curled tail, a hummingbird with elegant wings, a man with wide eyes often referred to as the astronaut. But how and why were they made? The lines themselves were created by removing the reddish-brown iron oxide-coated pebbles that cover the surface, exposing the lighter-colored earth underneath. In the bone-dry desert climate, this exposure has remained intact for centuries. No wind, no rain, time, it seems, stands still here. And yet, the Nazca Lines weren't discovered by modern eyes until the 20th century. Commercial air travel over Peru in the 1920s revealed the designs to startled pilots, who looked down from their small aircraft to see vast, mysterious figures covering the ground. The implications were staggering. Why would an ancient culture create massive geoglyphs that could only be seen from high above, at a time when humans had no means of flight? Was it for the gods, a form of celestial communication, a massive ritual calendar? Some archaeologists believe the lines were ceremonial pathways, used in ritual processions to honor deities or request rain in one of the driest regions on Earth. Others suggest they map celestial alignments, like a prehistoric observatory, tracking the movement of stars and seasons. But then the theories start to spiral. Could the Nazca have had access to balloon technology? Theories from fringe researchers suggest they might have used primitive hot air balloons to view their work from above. Others take it further. Perhaps the figures were messages for sky visitors, beings not of this world. Erich von Däniken, a prominent figure in the ancient astronaut theory movement, famously proposed that the lines were landing strips for alien spacecraft. The shapes, he claimed, resemble runways, navigation markers. The humanoid figure, An astronaut, the animals, symbols sent skyward to be recognized from space. Mainstream science dismisses these theories, but the fascination remains. Because despite decades of research, the definitive purpose of the Nazca Lines eludes us. In recent years, drones and satellite imagery have helped archaeologists discover dozens of new geoglyphs, some too faint or eroded to be seen before. These new lines include warriors, cats, and abstract symbols, further complicating the already murky understanding of what these artworks meant to their creators. Perhaps the most powerful question is this: what compelled an ancient people to dedicate so much time, effort, and precision to something they could never fully see? To create a hummingbird hundreds of feet long, or a monkey whose curled tail spirals perfectly into the desert floor, without being able to view it from above, requires a profound understanding of scale and geometry. Could they have possessed such mathematical prowess, or were they guided by something more mystical? In 2019, torrential rains, an anomaly in this desert, threatened to damage some of the lines. Preservation efforts were ramped up, and the world was reminded how fragile these silent messages truly are. For now, they remain, but for how long? As the wind skims across the ancient plains, the Nazca Lines wait, for answers that may never come, and for eyes that can still see wonder in the marks of the earth. For the London Hammer. In the quiet town of London, Texas, not the famed city in England, but a small, unassuming settlement in the American South, a discovery was made that would challenge the timeline of history itself. It began in 1936. A couple walking along the banks of a creek stumbled upon a curious object embedded in a rock. At first glance, it seemed ordinary, a hammer, a tool, something any blacksmith or pioneer might have wielded in the 19th century. But then came the deeper realization. The hammer was encased, entirely, within a rock formation that geologists believe could be over 100 million years old. How could a man-made tool be inside rock from the Cretaceous period, when dinosaurs roamed the earth? The object became known as the London Hammer, and ever since its discovery, it has stirred controversy, fascination, and fiery debate. The hammer itself is about 6 inches long, with a wooden handle, partially turned to coal, and a metal head composed of iron with traces of chlorine and sulfur. The craftsmanship is primitive, yet undeniably human. To its defenders, the London Hammer is an out-of-place artifact, an oop art, something that shouldn't exist, according to our understanding of history. If the surrounding rock truly dates back tens of millions of years, then this simple hammer could be evidence of human civilization far older than any history book suggests. To others, it's proof of advanced civilizations lost to time. Atlantis, Lemuria, or other forgotten peoples who achieved greatness before being wiped from existence. Was this tool dropped by someone whose memory was erased by cataclysm? Or is it, as some fringe theorists claim, evidence of time travel? Then come the more extreme ideas, of humans coexisting with dinosaurs, of ancient alien civilizations leaving behind tools, of timelines layered and fractured in ways we can't yet comprehend. But mainstream scientists have a different explanation. They argue that the rock around the hammer isn't truly from the Cretaceous period, but rather a concretion, a buildup of minerals that can form around objects over time. Given the right environmental conditions, such formations could happen over a much shorter span, perhaps centuries instead of eons. This theory offers a logical, grounded explanation, but still, it doesn't answer all the questions. Why did the wooden handle begin the process of turning to coal, a transformation that typically takes millions of years under natural conditions? Why does the hammer's iron resist rusting after nearly a century of exposure, suggesting an unusual composition or protective alloy? And most mysteriously, if it is truly modern, how did it become encased so perfectly, deep within the matrix of stone? Despite testing, analysis, and numerous articles both defending and debunking it, the London Hammer remains an unsolved enigma. It now resides in the Creation Evidence Museum in Glen Rose, Texas, where it stands as a silent challenge to conventional history. Is it a modern artifact caught in a strange geological process, or a relic from a time we dare not imagine? The London Hammer dares us to reconsider what we know, and to ask the questions most are afraid to ask. What if history is wrong? What if our timeline is incomplete? And what else lies hidden, sealed in the stone beneath our feet? 5. The Uffington White Horse, England's ancient enigma. On a windswept hillside in Oxfordshire, England, a figure gallops across the landscape, silent, ghostly, and eternal. It's not made of flesh or bone, but of gleaming white chalk, carved deep into the green earth. It has no name spoken by its creators and no written record of its purpose, yet it has watched over the land for thousands of years. This is the Uffington White Horse, a massive geoglyph stretching over 360 feet from tail to muzzle, its long, slender limbs frozen in mid-gallop. It is ancient, beautiful, and deeply mysterious. But perhaps the most unsettling thing about it is this: no one knows exactly why it's there. Unlike other hill figures scattered across Britain, the Uffington White Horse is not a crude or blocky image. It is stylized, almost abstract, with flowing lines and delicate curves. It looks more like something drawn by a modern artist than by prehistoric people. Yet dating techniques have confirmed that it was created sometime around 1000 BCE, during the late Bronze Age, more than 3,000 years ago. But how could an ancient culture, with no aerial perspective, create a figure only recognizable from above? And why a horse? Some scholars believe it was a tribal emblem, a symbol of power or identity for a people long vanished from history. Others think it was a sacred image, tied to pagan rituals or early worship of a solar horse deity. Its positioning on the slope of White Horse Hill, overlooking the Vale of the White Horse, suggests it may have had territorial or ceremonial significance. But even these theories struggle against the silence of time. The creators left behind no writing, no monuments, no oral tradition. The hill horse simply exists, etched into the earth like a riddle carved in chalk. Some researchers note that the horse aligns with the midwinter sun, and may have been part of astronomical rituals, marking seasonal change or honoring celestial cycles. Its placement above Dragon Hill, a nearby flat-topped mound rumored to be where St. George slew the dragon, hints at a deeper mythological tapestry, one in which the horse is a guardian or symbol of divine forces. And then there are the more speculative theories. Some suggest that the Uffington horse is far older than we think, perhaps a relic of a forgotten pre-Celtic civilization that understood geometry, symmetry, and the power of symbols. Others wonder if it was created to be seen from the sky, a message not to humans, but to the gods or to beings who watched from above. Could the horse be part of a larger pattern like the Nazca Lines in Peru? Could it be an ancient geoglyphic language, a form of communication we have yet to decipher? Or is it simply art, a prehistoric expression of beauty, motion, and connection to the natural world? Whatever its purpose, the Uffington White Horse has endured. It must be recut every few years, its lines redefined with fresh chalk by the hands of locals who have no idea who first carved them. And yet, generation after generation, they return to the hillside, perhaps moved by a sense of awe, of duty, or of something deeper, something unspoken. The horse runs on, timeless, silent, and enigmatic, a message in chalk from a people lost to history, a question etched into the earth. Who made you, and why? 6. The Baghdad Battery. It's the 1930s. In the dusty ruins near Baghdad, Iraq, a German archaeologist named Wilhelm Koenig is excavating the remains of a forgotten civilization. Among the clay tablets and ancient relics, he finds a small, unassuming object. A clay jar just under 6 inches tall, inside it, a copper cylinder, and within that an iron rod. At first it seems mundane, a container perhaps, a scroll holder, but Koenig examines it more closely and something clicks. This isn't just pottery, it's a battery. Yes, a battery. Later experiments would confirm his suspicion. When filled with an acidic liquid like vinegar or lemon juice, the device produces a measurable electric charge. It's not powerful, just a small voltage, but it's enough to spark one of the greatest historical mysteries of all time. How could an object resembling a modern electrical battery exist over 2,000 years ago? The object, now known as the Baghdad Battery, dates back to around 200 BCE, during the Parthian or Sassanid period of ancient Mesopotamia. A time long before Benjamin Franklin, long before Tesla or Edison. A time when the very idea of electricity was unknown, supposedly. So what was it used for? Some scientists theorize that these ancient cells could have been used for electroplating, coating metals like silver or gold with a thin layer of another material. If this is true, it suggests the people of the region were experimenting with rudimentary electrochemistry. But the mystery deepens. No wires, no written records of electricity, no other electrical tools. If this was part of a larger technology, where are the rest? And if it wasn't a battery, then what was it? Could it have been a healing device? Some believe it may have been used in medicinal or ritual contexts to deliver mild electric shocks, possibly as a treatment for pain or ailments, though there's no evidence for that in surviving texts. Then come the more speculative ideas. Was the Baghdad Battery evidence of ancient knowledge passed down from an earlier advanced civilization, one now lost to time? Or was it a reverse-engineered artifact, a relic from contact with beings possessing far superior technology? Skeptics argue that calling it a battery is an overreach. They say there's no concrete evidence it was ever used to produce electricity. After all, ancient people could have stumbled upon these materials by accident, copper, iron, acidic liquids, and not understood their potential. Yet the parts fit too perfectly. The copper cylinder is isolated from the iron rod. It's insulated with bitumen. It's sealed in a way that prevents leakage, exactly how a basic battery is constructed today. That level of design suggests intent. More intriguing still, several similar jars were discovered in the same region, indicating it wasn't a one-off. Were they part of a network, a series, a lab? We may never know. Today, replicas of the Baghdad Battery are tested in classrooms and museums around the world. Each time they work, each time they challenge our assumptions. Because if ancient people had access to electricity, even at the most basic level, what else did they know? And what else have we lost? In a world where modern technology is often viewed as the pinnacle of civilization, the Baghdad Battery reminds us. The past may still hold secrets we've only just begun to uncover. 7. The Shroud of Turin, Relic or Revelation. It is perhaps the most controversial and mysterious religious artifact in the world. A long piece of linen cloth, faintly imprinted with the haunting image of a man, his arms crossed, his body scarred, and his face marked with pain. For centuries, it has been venerated, debated, studied, and scrutinized. Believers call it a divine relic. Skeptics call it a medieval forgery. But whatever the truth may be, one thing is certain. The Shroud of Turin refuses to be explained. Measuring over 14 feet long and 3 feet wide, the shroud bears the front and back image of a man who appears to have suffered a brutal crucifixion. Blood stains, scourge marks, a crown of thorns, all echo the biblical description of the death of Jesus Christ. For many, the conclusion is clear. This is the very cloth that wrapped the body of Jesus after his death. But is it? The shroud first entered historical record in the 14th century, in Liéry, France. Almost immediately, it was declared a forgery by a local bishop who claimed to know the artist who made it. And yet, no one has ever been able to prove how it was made, or recreate its peculiar image using techniques available at that time. The cloth eventually made its way to Turin, Italy, where it now resides in a climate-controlled vault inside the Cathedral of St. John the Baptist. And from there, the mystery only deepens. In 1978, a team of American scientists known as the Shroud of Turin Research Project, SDURP, was granted rare access to the relic. What they discovered shocked even the most skeptical minds. There was no paint, no pigment, no brush strokes. The image wasn't drawn or applied. It was embedded in the topmost fibers of the cloth, so shallow that it barely penetrated the surface. Even under high magnification, it defied artistic explanation. And then came the most haunting detail. The image contains 3D spatial information. Unlike a photograph or painting, which distorts when depth is removed, the shroud's image can be converted into a three-dimensional relief using modern technology. It's as though the image was burned into the cloth by light or radiation, yet no known medieval method could have accomplished this. In 1988, radiocarbon dating was conducted on a sample of the cloth. The results appeared definitive. The fabric was dated to between 1260 and 1390 AD, squarely placing it in the Middle Ages. Case closed, or was it? Critics quickly pointed out flaws. The sample tested may have been taken from a corner that had been repaired in the Middle Ages, a patch woven into the original shroud centuries after it was made. Later analyses of pollen grains found on the shroud indicated the presence of Middle Eastern flora, consistent with plants found in ancient Jerusalem. Blood analysis showed traces of AB blood type and substances consistent with human hemoglobin. What's more, ultraviolet imaging revealed injuries on the man's body consistent with Roman crucifixion techniques, which weren't even well understood in the 14th century. Then there's the face, agonized, peaceful, and strangely familiar. It is a face that has inspired centuries of religious imagery, or perhaps has been preserved by it. Was the shroud the inspiration or the reflection? And if it isn't a painting and isn't a photograph, then what is it? Theories abound. Some believe the image was created by a burst of divine radiation at the moment of resurrection. Others speculate that it was formed by natural chemical reactions between body and cloth. Fringe theorists have even suggested alien technology, quantum energy, or time travel. Yet for all the testing, scanning, and theorizing, the core mystery remains untouched. The origin of the image is still unknown. To believers, it is a sacred relic, a silent witness to the suffering and resurrection of Jesus Christ. To others, it is a fascinating enigma, a puzzle crafted with techniques lost to time or made for purposes we still don't understand. But whether divine or deceptive, the Shroud of Turin endures. A faded cloth, a ghostly image, and a question that echoes through faith and science alike. Is this the face of God, or the most brilliant illusion in history? 8. The giant stone spheres of Costa Rica. Tucked away in the dense rainforests and grassy plains of southern Costa Rica lie some of the most perplexing archaeological enigmas ever discovered. Hundreds of massive, perfectly round stone spheres, known as Las Boluses. Some are the size of baseballs, others as large as cars. The biggest weigh over 15 tons. And yet they are almost perfectly spherical. Made of solid granodiorite, a hard, igneous rock found in the region. These ancient monoliths were carved with such precision and symmetry that even modern technology would struggle to match their perfection without the aid of advanced machinery. But here's the mystery. These stones were made before the Spanish arrived. Long before power tools. Long before written records in the region. The indigenous Dikwis culture, which thrived in the area between 700 and 1500 CE, is believed to have created them. But that's where the certainty ends, and the mystery begins. We don't know how they were carved so precisely. We don't know why they were made. We don't even know how many originally existed. Hundreds have been found, often buried beneath layers of soil or scattered across remote locations. Some were placed in geometric alignments, lines, triangles, or clusters, as if they marked something important. Others were found near ancient settlements or ceremonial sites, but many had no apparent purpose or context. Were they markers, calendars, monuments to the gods? Were they part of a lost cosmology, a symbolic map of the stars? The native legends are silent. No oral tradition survives that explains their creation. The Spanish conquerors paid them little mind. And in the modern era, many of the stones were moved, or worse, destroyed, by banana plantation workers and looters in the 20th century. Some were even blown up with dynamite in search of gold rumored to be hidden inside. They found nothing. Yet the myths persist. Some say the spheres were made with a secret lost technology, capable of softening stone. Others claim extraterrestrials crafted them as beacons, guiding starships across the Earth. A few believe they mark ley lines or energy grids that connect sacred places around the globe. What's most haunting is the silence. The lack of clues. The intentionality behind every curve, every placement, without any written explanation. Even modern archaeologists admit the tools used to sculpt such dense rock with that level of precision are a mystery. Stone hammers and fire splitting? Unlikely. That technique would have taken years for just one sphere, and yet there are hundreds. In 2014, UNESCO declared the spheres a World Heritage Site, recognizing them as a cultural treasure. But even with that status, the questions remain. Why invest so much effort into something so abstract? What message were the Dikwis people leaving behind? Were these stones meant to outlast time itself, sentinels of a forgotten language, scattered across the earth as a puzzle yet to be solved? Today, many of the spheres have been moved to museums, gardens, even government buildings in Costa Rica. They sit quietly, their silent curves reflecting the sun, waiting, always waiting, for someone to decipher their meaning. But maybe, like the stars they might once have mirrored, they were never meant to be explained, only felt and wondered at. 9. The Piri Reis Map. One of the most baffling and controversial pieces of historical cartography ever created is the Piri Reis Map. This 16th century world map, drawn by the Ottoman admiral and cartographer Piri Reis, has puzzled historians, scientists, and explorers alike. What makes this map so extraordinary is not only its detail, but also its depiction of the world as it appeared in the ancient past, long before modern exploration had charted the globe. The Piri Reis map, created in 1513, is a fragment of a larger map drawn by Piri Reis himself, using a variety of sources. The map shows parts of Europe, North Africa, and the Americas, but it also contains striking details that have sparked intense debate. Most notably, the map appears to show the northernmost part of Antarctica, an area that, to the knowledge of the time, had not been discovered and was covered by thick layers of ice. What is so puzzling about this is the fact that Antarctica's icy terrain was not even known to exist until the 19th century. The question is, how could a map from the early 1500s, created by a relatively unknown cartographer, accurately depict a part of the world that hadn't been explored or documented by anyone at that time? Some researchers argue that the map is simply a work of artistic imagination, drawn from limited sources and inaccurate information. Others believe that it may be based on much older, lost maps, potentially from a civilization far more advanced than what was known during the 16th century. The idea that Piri Reis could have accessed ancient cartographic knowledge, perhaps from ancient Egypt or even an earlier civilization, seems to defy everything we know about history. But the mystery doesn't stop there. The map also shows an accurate depiction of the South American coast, especially the coast of Brazil, with remarkable precision that suggests the use of sophisticated navigation techniques and a deep understanding of the terrain. Even more baffling, the map includes a depiction of the Amazon River, which was not navigable by Europeans at the time. One of the most extraordinary aspects of the Piri Reis map is its inclusion of features of the Earth's geography that would have been unknown to any cartographer of the 16th century. For example, the map shows the curvature of the Earth's coastline with remarkable accuracy. The coastline of the South Pole appears to be devoid of ice, something that would have been impossible to know unless someone had already explored it or had access to ancient maps that documented the continent before it became covered in ice. Could it be that the Piri Reis map is evidence of an ancient civilization that had access to advanced maritime technologies and knowledge of the Earth's geography, far beyond what was known during the Renaissance? Some believe that the map may have been created based on much older maps passed down through the ages, originating from a time before the ice sheets covered Antarctica. These older maps could have been part of a lost civilization that had somehow navigated the frozen continent and recorded its features. Some even suggest that the Piri Reis map may be a clue to the existence of the legendary Atlantis, as described by Plato. Could the ancient cartographers who created these maps have preserved the geographical knowledge of an advanced civilization that existed long before recorded history? Or, perhaps more shockingly, could this ancient knowledge have come from extraterrestrial sources, as some fringe theorists have suggested? As we study the Piri Reis map, the deeper we dive into its mysterious origins, the more questions arise. Was it a product of the time's limited knowledge, or does it reveal a forgotten chapter of history? A time when humanity's understanding of the world was far more advanced than we had ever imagined. The truth may lie buried beneath centuries of mystery, waiting to be uncovered by the next generation of explorers and historians. The Piri Reis map, with its enigmatic features, serves as a tantalizing reminder of how much we still do not understand about our past. Whether it is a clue to a lost civilization or simply an artifact of ancient cartography, one thing is clear. The map has left an indelible mark on the mystery of human history, and its secrets are far from being fully revealed. 10. Göbekli Tepe, the temple that shouldn't exist. Deep in the dusty hills of southeastern Turkey, hidden beneath layers of time and earth, lies one of the most astonishing archaeological discoveries of the modern age. A site so ancient, so intricately designed, that it has completely upended everything we thought we knew about the origins of human civilization. This is Göbekli Tepe, a prehistoric temple complex built over 11,000 years ago, thousands of years before the pyramids of Egypt, before Stonehenge, and even before the invention of writing or the wheel. A place that defies history, and yet undeniably exists. Discovered in the 1990s by German archaeologist Klaus Schmidt, Göbekli Tepe appeared at first to be little more than a dusty mound. But beneath the surface lay a hidden world, massive T-shaped stone pillars arranged in vast circular formations, some towering over 16 feet high and weighing up to 20 tons. These stones were not crudely cut, but intricately carved with images of animals, birds, serpents, and abstract symbols. What's more, they were erected long before humans were supposed to be capable of such complex construction. According to everything we believed about human development, Göbekli Tepe shouldn't exist. The prevailing view of prehistory held that agriculture came first, leading to the establishment of permanent settlements, then religion, and eventually monumental architecture. But Göbekli Tepe flips this idea on its head. Built by hunter-gatherers before the dawn of agriculture, it suggests that religion and communal ritual may have come first, and that it was this spiritual need that drove humans to gather, settle, and eventually farm. This raises a provocative question. Did belief in the divine spark the very birth of civilization? Even more baffling is how these ancient builders, with no metal tools, no domesticated animals, and no known writing systems, were able to design and construct such an immense, symbolically rich complex. The coordination and labor required to build Göbekli Tepe hint at a level of social organization and planning thought impossible for that era. And then there's the greatest mystery of all. Why was it deliberately buried? Sometime around 8000 BCE, the site was carefully entombed under tons of earth, not by natural processes but by human hands. The builders, or perhaps their descendants, intentionally filled in the complex as though trying to preserve or hide something. Was it a ritual closure, a response to a threat, or a desperate attempt to protect knowledge meant only for a chosen few? These questions remain unanswered. Some theorists suggest that Göbekli Tepe may be more than just a temple. It may be a kind of ancient archive, a cosmic map, or even a place of contact between early humans and higher intelligences, whether spiritual or extraterrestrial. The abstract symbols carved into the stone may represent constellations, myths, or lost knowledge about the heavens and our place within them. Others argue that Göbekli Tepe is proof that we've dramatically underestimated the capabilities of ancient humans. That buried in our past are stories of lost cultures, of intellectual revolutions erased by time, and of a far deeper, richer prehistory than we've ever imagined. As more is unearthed, it becomes clear that Göbekli Tepe is not just the world's oldest known temple. It is a portal to a forgotten epoch, a chapter of human history that predates civilization itself, a time when early humans gathered not just to survive, but to contemplate, to worship, and to build something eternal. This ancient sanctuary, forgotten for millennia, now stands as a beacon for those willing to question the official timeline. A stone monument to a world before history, a mystery that continues to challenge our understanding of who we are and where we come from. And so, with the haunting pillars of Göbekli Tepe reaching out from the sands of time, we come to the end of our journey. But the greatest discovery may still lie ahead, not beneath the soil, but within the courage to ask the impossible. What if everything we thought we knew is only the beginning? Across continents and centuries, these discoveries echo a single truth. Our past is not as simple as we once believed. Every stone, every relic, every whisper from the ancient world challenges the boundaries of what we think we know. What else lies hidden beneath the sands, the ice, or the forests? What mysteries have yet to be unearthed? Perhaps the next great discovery is still waiting. And when it's found, it may change everything.